right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's in nobody else's interest involved in the foster system to shed a light.
The animal abused and neglected
It's
child
the same.
thing are such close fellow travelers, and it was what the lady said.
Yeah, what is the...
This is what the official, the chief criminologist of the LAPD on this case claimed happened. Sirhan is wrestled against this table, fires the gun, the bullet goes through a ceiling tile, hits a concrete ceiling, ricochets down, goes through another ceiling tile, and hits Elizabeth Evans in the head. Even if you think that the physics of it are plausible, one of the things that's always been difficult to explain is that the doctors who examined Elizabeth Evans said that the bullet came at an upward trajectory, hitting her in the face. And the LAPD kind of ignored that and say that, well, that's what happened. So this is the official version then in summary. All the bullets are accounted for, how they were recovered. There's no evidence of additional shots. So if you could prove that a single additional shot took place in the pantry of the Ambassador Hotel, it would mean there was a second gun. So is there such evidence? Take a look at this. These are official crime scene photos from the LAPD's own files that survive that show investigators pointing to what could be bullet holes. Now the LAPD says today these are not bullet holes. We don't know what they're pointing at. But in 1968, they released this picture to the Associated Press. And this is the actual caption that the Wire story went out with. It says, "Bullet found near Kennedy shooting scene." And it says, "A technician inspects a bullet hole discovered in a door frame," and it says, "Bullet is still in the wood." And that's the close-up of what they are examining. So here's one bullet. And the irony of it is, this is back to the AP story that was published. This photograph accompanies a lot of the printings of it. This was printed in hundreds of news sites and papers and whatever. And this is from the Huffington Post. Same caption, and it says, "Bullet is still in the wood." This is how they recap the shooting in the AP story.
But why isn't that compatible with them saying one of them went through Kennedy?
Because they said that bullet was lost in the ceiling. Above the ceiling somewhere, the bullet couldn't be recovered.
And all the other bullets were in
So all the other bullets, 2 bullets were recovered from Senator Kennedy's head, and each of the 5 victims had a bullet lodged in it. So there is no way that there could be a bullet lodged in the doorframe. And look at what they say here. Authorities have said 8 bullets were fired, with 3 hitting Kennedy, and the rest flying widely around the kitchen and striking 5 other victims. In their story is a blatant contradiction of the official version that they don't point out. Now, are we relying on just one bullet, allegedly in one, doorframe? Here are 2 other photos from the official file, one LAPD, one FBI photo, showing bullet holes in the doorframe of the pantry. How do we know these are bullet holes? Because they've been initialed by the investigators and circled as evidence. There's an interesting thing. There's a filmmaker from the UK named Shane O'Sullivan who did a film in 2007, and he's the first person who actually found color footage of the area that's in the photo on the left. And the bullet holes look somewhat different, so he believes that these pictures were actually taken after the bullets were extracted. So it's possible that there is evidence, he believes, that many more bullets were recovered than has been previously believed. How else do we know this? Here is an FBI memo. There was a joint investigation for a while that says that slugs were recovered at the shooting scene, and they're waiting for the ballistics analysis, but these bullets never materialized. Now, beyond this, the biggest sort of challenge to the single shooter theory comes actually from the autopsy of Robert Kennedy, which was conducted by the LA coroner Thomas Noguchi, who you could call the first whistleblower on this case. This is Thomas Noguchi examining the non-bullet holes at the scene, according to the official version. Yes?
What caliber gun was...
It's with 22 millimeter.
And
because those are very small bullets that are in that wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So, this is what Noguchi says. This is where the big controversy came up at the time. He said that the fatal shots were fired from a distance of 1 inch to contact from behind. So, the photographs of Robert Kennedy's body have not been made public, but you see here on the left is the back of his suit coat. You see powder burn and blood in the suit jacket. You see muzzle blast, the burn tests that the LAPD did, and this is a diagram that a researcher drew about the trajectories of the bullet path. So they're all from behind. Why is this significant? Because these findings of the autopsy are in complete conflict with every single eyewitness in the pantry about where Sirhan was. Everyone said that Sirhan approached Kennedy from the front and never got more than 3 to 5 feet close to Kennedy, and Kennedy never had his back to Sirhan. So the question is, how was he shot? The bullets that actually killed him come from a distance of 1 inch to contact from behind, right? Noguchi underwent tremendous pressure from the DA's office, from the LAPD, to recant his testimony in court and refused. And so they started suggesting that he was a drunk and incompetent. And he was the chief coroner of the city of Los Angeles. And he, to this day, believes that Sirhan wasn't the only gunman. But again, that's something that has been ignored. So, in 1977, the LAPD and the DA's office, the conspiracy rumors won't die, so they find a witness statement from a woman named Lisa Urso, who said during her original interviews that Sirhan fired point blank of this encounter. So Sharaga is pissed and insists that he never said to anyone that he was mistaken about what he said and what he saw. Curiously, mind you again, he's the first police officer at the scene. The authority over the crime scene is technically his, but he's told to leave. The crime scene is taken over by a special unit of the LAPD that will handle the investigation. And he's asked to turn over everything. And so he writes a very detailed report about what he saw. That report has never been seen since. The only thing that survives is this, is the official summary of his account written by one of the investigators. And I've kind of pulled out the relevant portion. They've added after the account that he believes that due to the noise and confusion at the time, what was said was misinterpreted, and what was probably said was they shot him. But this is what Sharaga wrote in this report. Now, if only we had Sharaga's original report to know what he said. And we do, because I tracked down Paul Sharaga to Missouri, and he gave it to me. He was very suspicious of, he's old. And I got this a couple years ago, but he was very suspicious of what was happening because everything was being done kind of counter to what police procedure should have been. So he made a copy of the report, and this is his section in the report. If you look at the same section, woman asked the young couple who, and the young woman replied, Kennedy, we shot him, we shot him. Then he continues, I immediately broadcast to communications that Senator Kennedy had been shot, a description of the suspects given to my witnesses. There's nothing here about how he was mistaken. So I don't believe this has actually been seen in any documentary. I don't know if Paul has given it to anyone else.
And what about
here it is.
Sean? You said there's another film out about it.
Yes, he doesn't have it for some reason. Shane doesn't have the documented. I don't think he was able to get Paul to do an interview. I'm not sure why, but he focuses on somewhat different aspects. So, here's another question for you. So, we know that report is missing. What else is missing from evidence in the highest profile murder case in LAPD history? For one thing, 2,400 photographs that the LAPD burned before Sirhan's trial even got underway. This is the... They burned them in a medical waste incinerator in the County General Hospital. This is the employee's report testifying that the photographs were destroyed. Now, the LAPD at the time said that these were duplicates and not needed. I don't know what the case was to burn 2,400 photographs. I mean, you'd think we'd need them. We now know that 50% of one photographer's crime scene photos were in there, and also the only existing pre-operative photographs ever taken of Robert Kennedy's body were among the photos that they burned. Next, the LAPD takes the ceiling panels and tiles that were recovered at the crime scene. These are destroyed while Sirhan's case is still pending appeal. The door frames with bullet holes are also destroyed. So this raises the question to me of why. What motive would they have to destroy all this evidence? Like, a lot of people have asked, like, well, what was Sirhan doing there? What was he firing a gun for? How can he claim that he's innocent? And I don't pretend to know what he was doing.
Is he claiming he's innocent?
He claims that he doesn't remember, that he may have been hypnotically programmed to do it. I don't know about that. I don't know that we have evidence to support that claim. I don't know that we have evidence to disprove that claim. What we do know for certain is that he didn't fire the fatal shots. And I think that the fact that much of this information has been known for decades, and in 1992 there was a huge effort. My film I did with a professor named Philip Melanson, who is considered to be still the leading authority on this case. He has passed away, unfortunately, from cancer, but he and 50 other signatories filed a request to a grand jury in Los Angeles where they presented 800 pages of unresolved controversies, exhibits, to the grand jury, and their request was denied. When I tried to get the case reopened with Larry Teeter, we had evidence that was about prosecutorial misconduct and different things like that, and no one was interested in hearing it. So my question is, we can say Sirhan may have had some involvement, but we obviously don't know anything about what actually happened in the pantry, and I think we should. So that's why I think that the case should be reopened. And I know you're all very excited to hear this, but I've tried to get my film up on YouTube so that people could see it, but I've had similar technical challenges that for some reason the file doesn't upload, and it takes 7 hours to upload. So hopefully very soon I will tweet about it when it's up so that people can watch it, because it has a lot of interesting stuff that I haven't seen before.
Who was the head of the LAPD at that time? And
well, I don't know that it's so much a lot of people have asked the question of who had motive to do it?
Would be Parker.
Yeah. But what is curious is that, there was almost I don't know if there was some kind of a contingency plan, emergency plan for a situation like this, but there was a unit that was formed within 3 days. A special unit took hold of all the evidence inside the LAPD. And, a lot of people have questioned things like, there were 2 reports from eyewitnesses that someone saw a security guard behind Kennedy pull out his gun and fire. This guy's name was Gene Caesar. We can go back to actually the slide where he was standing, but he was standing basically in contact right behind Kennedy. It was found out that he was an extreme right-winger, had a gun that matched the caliber of the murder weapon. The police never tested his gun. Caesar fled to a non-extradition country. He lives in the Philippines today. He's never been interviewed by the police. And again, when people have said, well, so what if, I respect Kamala Harris tremendously, but she said in her filing, even if there was a second gunman, that doesn't mean Sirhan's innocent, so we should not have a new trial. My thinking is, we should know who those people were with Sirhan, because if they were just his girlfriend and best friend, why wouldn't the police have sought them out? I think it suggests that, there's an active vested interest in preventing us from knowing what happened, and that's why I feel like the case should be real.
What is the position of the defense counsel of Sirhan
Now,
that he was present, he wasn't present?
No, they are arguing that he's not guilty because he was basically programmed to commit it, so he had no control over his actions.
That he was hypnotized.
Yes, that's right. And we know from congressional investigations that the CIA did have a program to create hypnotically controlled assassins. Whether it actually ever worked or was tried, we don't know. But and I don't know that. I believe that. I think it's hard for anyone to argue you're there with a gun shooting that you're innocent, but we do know that he's innocent.